Hayley, you have had such a massive experience of services, both in your working life and as a parent who uses services for your son as a carer. You've given incredible, powerful feedback about the difference it makes when you're listened to and recognised for your strengths when dealing with significant challenges. This means such a lot to us. Would you be kind enough to talk us through your insights today?
Yeah, where do I begin? Yeah, Credu sort of came into my life when it was quite difficult for us with our son. And Lisa Bowen from Credu, she came on board to support me, and yourself came into our home and sat with us and listened. I felt that, that we were really listened to. Obviously, we'd been through endless TAF meetings and meetings with professionals who were very, very grateful for, but I just felt that they weren't listening to me. And I think the openness of Credu, you coming into my home and actually sitting there and listening, and being heard, I felt that you empowered me, which sometimes I feel with the services, they're very governed to what they are able to offer. And it was a really scary time, but Credu were the guys that were so open, that gave me the platform to be able to speak to the services, and get across my own story, but Joseph's story, my courageous young man as well. And I feel that is really the way forward. We need to be open and we need to work together as learning from experiences and putting the people that need the care at the forefront. And I think that's what Credu has done. They've made me feel like Hayley again, not a problem. They've given me the strength to talk. They've allowed for me to be down, and they've allowed for me to smile, telling my story as well. They've allowed for me to be proud again of my son, rather than him just being a problem.
I know when you spoke on that platform, you talked about to the heads of service, they were inspired by your strength and inspired by your expertise and your commitment to keep going even when it was really scary. Could you just say a little bit about that openness you talked about, that listening, how that's helped even though maybe the situation hasn't changed?
Yeah, I think sometimes the complexity of things, I mean, everybody's an individual, every child, every adult, everybody has a disability. Me as a carer, a non-paid carer, me as an employee, as a paid carer, we're all complex. And I think sometimes the more complex it is, the more we make it more difficult and complex, if you see what I mean. Whereas to me, sitting around that table in a TAF meeting and having health one side, having social services, and then having somebody from education, it was like that tick in the box. Nobody could come together and just help us. It made me feel very, very frightened, very down. I was at a low. And, you came into my house, taking that back to me being a human being, compassion, really what I needed, and to be able to go back and think about it and be able to access the right avenues so that I could talk to the heads of services. And I think that's what is happening now. People are listening, and people, it's us, the families. You've got to get to know us, and for anybody that ever works with Joseph, they will be part of our family. We're talking about caring, we're talking about the most precious gift of life. You've given us so many platforms, where we've been able to listen and enhance our own experiences and chat to other carers, that hopefully that we can help one another.
Yeah. So it sounds like there was a lot of services around the table and a lot of noise and a lot of voices, but it wasn't your voice, as they seemed to have really good things that they were trying to do, but it just wasn't coming together. And when it did come together, and when you were sort of at the center of it, you and Joseph was at the center of it, really, it suddenly started to sort of fall into place for you, and you could see it a little bit clearer.
You know, with a learning disability, autism, I think that's where you really, really connected with us. How Joe, it was so painful for Joseph in these settings, that we lost him because his sensitivities, we weren't listening to him, his body, his language. We felt very lonely. We felt, really scared. And I think that's again where Credu came in. You offered us hope. And that's what we all need. We're talking about Joseph possibly going to college, and why shouldn't he, even if he isn't able to achieve that, why shouldn't he have the opportunities, just because he's very poorly, and that's where you've given us the strength to even go forward and talk about these things.
I'd just like to finish on the fact that you said before about connecting with other carers. You have brought so much to so many meetings and so many carers, and your experience and your knowledge and your absolute strength is shone through. The hope that you bring other carers and your son and your rest of your family and your community as well is really exciting. So thank you so much, Hayley, for talking to us today, and also for being alongside Credi and being brave enough and to tell us your story, because it takes a lot. So thank you so much.